Virtual reality is meant to be immersive, engaging, and limitless. But what happens when those experiences leave people behind? In this documentary, we take you behind the scenes of Deck of Secrets, a virtual escape room game designed with accessibility in mind. From brainstorming to testing, we explored what it means to build inclusive virtual spaces because in this future of technology, everyone should have a way in.
My name's Anthony Scavarelli. I'm a professor at Algonquin College. Taught in the BIT IMD program for several years. And I also did my PhD in how to make virtual reality more inclusive for social learning spaces. VR has been around for a long time. We first started dreaming about it in the 1930s. We started writing about it and building headsets in the 1950s and 60s. And it's kind of changed over time. If you looked in virtual reality, like in research in the 2000s, it'd be more desktop and cave-based, like projections on the wall. Late 80s, 90s, it'd be head-mounted displays. Um, and now it's back to head-mounted displays currently since the Oculus Kickstarter, early 2010s. So right now when we talk about VR, most people are thinking about the head-mounted display.
With our foundation laid, our team got to work. At the heart of any virtual reality experience is programming, the logic that holds the world together. Stacy, our main programmer, took the lead in making sure our code wasn't just functional, but accessible.
Hi, I'm Anastasia. I am the lead programmer on Deck of Secrets. So, Deck of Secrets is a VR game that's kind of like an escape room style, also centered around the deck of cards theme. And we chose this just because we wanted to do something we were all passionate about, and this came from many long meetings, just discussing everything we wanted to do. And this is what we landed on, and we were all super excited about how it turned out. For accessibility with programming, there's a lot of factors to consider. I think the biggest one is that we want to make sure that users do not experience motion sickness and to reduce this as much as possible. And the big consideration we made is that we did not put any smooth motion. So when the players move around, they can physically walk. Or to be able to make it more accessible for people with limited motions or just limited space in general, you can teleport by pushing the trigger forward, and then you can snap turn by moving the triggers side to side. We also later implemented another function after user testing, which is a crouch mechanism, so you don't have to physically crouch down as some of our puzzles are lower.
But an escape room isn't just puzzles and code, it's about the world you step into. Zainab and Ellis focused on designing an environment that was immersive, intuitive, and inclusive from the ground up.
So, my name is Ellis. My role in the project is lead design and marketing. And what that means in more practical application is that I did a lot of 3D modeling and texturing. And I also did a lot of design work. So, I did our logo design, I made our website, and I also made the cards and stickers that we're going to be giving out at the capstone fair.
My name is Zainab Bashir. I'm the lead environmental modeling and I do most of the work for Capstone for my part and my accessibility is really important to me personally. I throughout our program, accessibility has been an important factor in everything that we design. So whether it be websites, whether it be um a video, whether it be an experience, a game, anything. It's whatever stuff like accessibility. And accessibility is available in multiple forms. It doesn't just have to be closed captions, sound. It can also be the way that you design your models.
Accessibility is very important to my role, especially with the 3D models that I'm creating, because inside of our experience, we have a lot of 3D models that communicate important information to the users. So as they go through the experience, they'll be solving puzzles and receiving clues that give them information that can lead them to the final reveal. And so a lot of those models contain written text, and a big part of accessibility for my role was making sure that users are able to actually read that text. Because inside of the VR headset, you often need to make text bigger and bolder and have more contrast in order for users to actually be able to read it and consume the information. And another thing that we do in order to make that information more accessible to users is anything that is really important is often communicated in different mediums. So while we'll have written information on the model, we'll also have an audio bite accompanied with it that explains to the user what the significance of the text actually is.
In VR, the most important thing is the use of space. So making sure that everything within the models is like you can like it makes sense, like the functionality, like push and pull, what you read, like number dials, they have to be very clear, um, bolded, but not so much so that you can't like distinguish what numbers they are. Things have to be clear in more than one way. So if we have like a couch that's on top of a secret door, we want to make sure that the door just peeks up, like peeks through the couch a little bit, and that the couch has a strap, and give more than one indicator that that couch needs to be moved for you to get to the door.
Of course, virtual reality isn't just about what you see, it's also about what you hear. Beck worked on creating an audio experience that supported gameplay while considering users who rely on more than just sound.
We're trying to add in dialogue for that explains what's going on in the scenes, which adds a different way of getting the information to the user, which makes the entire game more accessible. A lot of it is how loud it is and how clear it is, making sure that the user can actually hear it, and also letting the user on the VR headset. There is a way to make it like less loud and louder, but making sure it is actually you're actually able to hear it. It's important.
To bring it all to life, we needed animation. Anna and I collaborated on making sure that these animations were accessible, meaningful, and story driven. Anna worked on the character modeling as well as their rigs, while I focused on making sure their animation and mocap worked perfectly in sync with our audio.
Hi, I'm Anna. So my role in the Capstone project is character design and character modeling. And so that entails doing research first for the character concept, since our capstone is set in the 1950s, 1960s, and is inspired too by Victorian style architecture. And so for this, I first researched time accurate wardrobe to the 1950s and 60s. And specifically formal wear, as the characters I'd be designing were the house leaders, were our experience. And from this, I made concept art, shared it with the group to get their reaction to see how to move forward. And from then on, I went into character modeling. Because my role is like character modeling, I'm not certain that accessibility plays the biggest role. I think it plays a bigger role in other aspects of like the VR experience. Though for character modeling, definitely an aspect that would come to play, I think, is color contrast, so that you don't have a character with colors that are jarring for the viewer to look at, or as well do not match the environment from where they belong. Though I guess in a way it could play a role in accessibility, because if a model is too large, it can cause the VR headset to lag. Um, and that is definitely something that I took into account when creating the models.
My name is Seri David Itukoy, and for our capstone project, I am the lead animator for all of our animation scenes. Accessibility in animation, I feel like, is really important because animation consists of a variety of factors. It consists of audio, it consists of visualization, and in most cases, it also consists of like haptic controls where you're meant to like feel certain things. And so when you don't have accessibility in your animations, I think your animation kind of lacks a lot. And so for me, in our current project of Deca Secrets, how I put in the animations into our Unity and still made them feasible was by doing something with a 360 VR with Blender. So instead of making the models kind of move in Unity themselves, I did something different where I kind of created a 360 video inside of Blender, rendered it out, and then put it into our scene as a skybox. And I did this for a variety of reasons. One, because it's like incredibly small. Instead of like up to a gigabyte of like animation, it comes down to like 30 megabytes. And two, it's that it's easier to kind of control what's happening in Blender. And so I'm able to like make sure I'm marking every accessibility test right.
Finally, after over 8 months of hard work, we are finally ready to present our game Deck of Secrets to the world. We created custom merchandise to hand out to players and invited everyone to figure out the mystery behind our experience. Overall, lots of players had lots of great feedback, questions, and praise for our experience, as well as had a fun time navigating through our environment and our puzzles. In the end, we knew that the conversation didn't end there, so we had to ask ourselves, what's next?
I think the finality of it all and just having to like say goodbye to the program through that fair, don't think I'm ready for that. No.
Bittersweet to be finishing this program because I did enjoy my time and I feel like I got to learn so much and experience so many different things, like being able to learn animation, web dev, game dev, like so many different types of tech and media that I really don't think I could have in other programs is really special. And it's going to be sad to, I think, be done with it, but I'm very excited for the future and I feel that I got a lot of skills that prepared me for graduation.
Feel, I don't know, satisfying with my experience at IMD. I definitely learned a lot in a large range of areas that I don't think I've gotten the experience to learn about in a different program. Um, I got a like sneak peek at like programming, which I learned is not my forte. I looked at like web design, UX, UI, animation modeling, as well as game development. And if it were not for IMD, I would not have been able to experience that, like all of that in the range of like 4 years. Um, and no, let's see what the future holds.